So we're going to be going into a couple of different topics. Now, throughout the program, we're going to be going into these topics in more depth. But what I wanted to do is just give you the answers straight away, like we said, so that we can get some great results immediately. So the blueprint for now is going to be three main areas to begin with. So we're going to have lean protein in every meal. We're going to have fruit and veg in every meal. And we're also going to be optimally hydrated all day, every day. So why do we need to make sure that we're consuming protein in each of those meals? So when it comes to protein, it's really unique in the sense that it helps you feel fuller quicker. It also helps you feel fuller for much longer because it takes longer to digest generally. Now, there's lots of different types of sources of protein. So some animal sources are chicken breast, for example, fish, low-fat beef, turkey, lean pork. We've got eggs. There's lots and lots of different animal sources that are going to give you some fantastic sources of protein. On the plant-based sources, again, there's an extensive amount of plant-based sources, but some of the key ones are things like edamame beans, tofu, lentils, chickpeas. So let's say, for example, if you're making a stew, we can add some lentils in there. Let's say if you're having a curry, you could have a chickpea curry, for example. If you're having a stir fry, you could add some tofu in there. So lots of different options there to get some great plant-based sources of protein in there too. By the way, you don't have to necessarily just be following a plant-based approach solely to benefit from the plant-based sources of protein. So you can just be having a standard omnivorous diet, which is inclusive of all different sources of nutrition. You're not restricting by plant-based sources at all. However, let's say if you made a chicken curry, but it's also got some lentils in, you're going to have that additional bonus of plant-based sources of protein as well. Now, lastly, when it comes to protein, please don't fear the supplements. The supplements are absolutely fine and good to go. So let's say, for example, if you're struggling to hit your protein targets, you might want to just add in some whey protein, for example, or casein. It could be on the plant-based side of things, you could have some pea protein, for example. There's loads of different supplements out there, and they're incredibly useful for boosting those protein numbers. When it comes to fruit and veg, this also helps in a huge amount of different ways, but for the purpose of weight loss, it's all about feeling fuller quicker again, and also feeling fuller for longer. Now, fiber is one of those areas of our nutrition which basically prolongs that digestive period. So if we have protein in every meal and a good quality source of fiber in every meal, we've really got that gold standard now where the rate of digestion is prolonged as much as possible. So if you're feeling fuller for much longer, there's going to be less periods of time in between your meals that you're feeling a bit peckish, and you're going to be maybe reaching out for those snacks and things like that, and peaking those calorie intakes. So make sure that we've got protein in every meal and combining that with a really good source of fiber, which is generally from fruit and veg. Also, fruit and veg is on the whole low calorie density. So there's a couple of different examples where there's a higher calorie density, but the vast majority of fruit and veg is much lower, so that you can have more of it for the same amount of calories. It's also high in water content, and research shows that the higher the plant content generally results in a lower BMI. So people that have lots of plant-based sources as part of their intakes, they're almost by default, without them having to think about it, have generally lower BMI standards. Also, the target, just to give you an idea, is to consume 5 portions plus per day. So some people have 6 portions, some people have 7 portions. This is absolutely fine, but let's aim for that absolute minimum of 5 portions per day. So you might want to split it up really simply and have, let's say, 2 portions of fruit throughout the day and 3 portions of veg throughout the day as well. But that's entirely up to you. On hydration, again, it doesn't directly contribute to weight loss. It's more of avoiding that sluggish feeling of dehydration, because when you're dehydrated, you don't feel right. Your daily energy levels and focus is a little bit low. And if that's how you're feeling in that moment in time, you may be tempted to reach out for that snack, for example. And so that's the purpose of this. And also there's many other health benefits which we'll go into in later modules. But we really just need to be avoiding those periods of time where we're feeling sluggish, low on energy as a result of dehydration. So the vast majority of people need to be consuming between 2 to 3 litres of water per day. It may be more in certain circumstances. So if you live in a hot country, if it's really humid, if you're working out, let's say 5 or 6 times a week, your hydration needs are going to be higher. However, the majority of people will fall within this bracket of in and around 2 to 3 litres per day. So really, really nice and simple at this stage. We don't want to complicate things. We don't want to overload you with loads of complex strategies to implement. Keep it really simple and focus on these 3 areas to begin with. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you on part 2.